Hey everyone, Harrison here. I realized something about new. Whoa, this is a massive damage. Jeez. Imagine Jungle's burst, but instead of being an elemental burst, is an elemental skill with 2 initial charges. Whoa. Navia is a strong DPS with high multipliers on her skill, and she can also infuse Geo on her weapon. Something we were missing on Daddy Jungle. She has an insane elemental damage, and she can also offer a good support with her skill and burst, and in the other hand makes you able to create crystallized reaction with some consistency. Speaking of which, she is a bit niched for just crystallized reaction, which is a very nice thing in my perspective, because we know a certain character with a power not from this world. To be honest, I was expecting something else, because Navia is a Geo character, but until this exact moment you and I were forgetting something really important. Listen, I was forgetting that all Fontaine's 5-star DPS so far are building an excellent reputation when it comes to being good, don't you think? So I could imagine that Navia can be at this level too, and now you were forgetting? Can you guess? Yes, your precious like. Me has still a tiny channel. Your like and subscription is so vital for me. Thank you so much. I really appreciated your support. By subscribing in this channel, you will be completely up to date for every new character. For example, Navia, Chlorint, Chevros, Cloud Retainer. So make sure to subscribe. In this video, we are about to go deep down inside on everything you need to know about Navia's gameplay, including her entire kit, constellations, passive skills, and more. We'll master her gameplay, so make sure to watch this video until the end. Oh, I almost forgot it. Before you see the numbers, let me show you my Navia's builds. I'm using Tidal Shadow, the new forgeable weapon from Fontaine. It's pretty easy to obtain, you just need to buy it. I'm not using the new set Nighttime Whispers, which is a pretty strong and suitable for Navia, because Navia is out just now, and I still don't have decent pieces. But instead of that, I'm using Golden Troop, a nice and pretty suitable artifact for Navia, has alternative option. And it's worth mentioning that Navia can fully benefit from the second effect of the 4 pieces, because you have 2 seconds to unleash the skill before you lose the second 25% of increased damage. This is enough time to unleash Navia's elemental skill and leave the field. And don't forget that Navia can still do damage off field. So, pretty good alternative for her, don't you think? Oh, it's also important to know that Navia doesn't scale with defense like Ito or Albedo, which is kinda weird, but also good because we can use Bennett or Kujosara with her. I think hoyoverse realizes scaling with defense is giving 2 things by 1 in exchange. The defense itself and the attack. My Navia is in max level and the talents are 8, 10, 8. Starting with her active skills, she performs up to 4 consecutive strikes that deals physical damage. Navia's charge attack consumes stamina over time to perform continuous spinning attack against all nearby opponents, dealing physical damage, and in the end of the sequence performs a more powerful slash, dealing also physical damage to the opponent. A pretty ordinary charge attack like other 4-star Claymore users. And now, let's move on to the most important thing on her kit. Yes, the elemental skill. Let's go. Navia's elemental skill starts with 2 initial charges, similar to Clay and Shell's elemental skill that also starts with 2 charges. If I'm forgetting someone that also starts with 2 or more charges, you can tell me in the comments. Casting Navia's elemental skill deals Ozia aligned Geo damage. and also fires 5 shots that I called Risula charge shots that also deals geo damage with her Gumbrella. I suppose that the name came from a mix between an umbrella and a gun. If you didn't skip the video, you might be wondering yourself, but I saw you firing more Risula charge shots before. Yes, that's true, because something is missing here. Can you guess? Yes, crystals or elemental charges created by the crystallized reaction. They will create crystal shrapnel, and those crystal shrapnel won't just multiply the number of Risula charge shots that Navia's fires, but will also increase the damage dealt by them around 45% with all crystal shrapnel. When any character in the party not just cast but obtain an elemental or crystal shard, Navia will gain one charge called Crystal Shrapnel that will add more to Risula charge shots and Navia's elemental skill. Navia can hold around 6 Risula charge shots at once. That's a lot. Oh, I mean Crystal Shrapnel. Okay, someone is winning here. Lane hold 5 prop surplus stacks. Oh wait, hold on. 6 Crystal Shrapnel? If one Crystal Shrapnel adds more to Risula charge shots, this means that we will have around 12 Risula charge shots beyond those initial 5. Too good to be true. I mean, half of that is true. Just the 3 initial Crystal Shrapnel charges will increase the number of Risula charge shots. Each one will add more too, which means more 6 Risula charge shots beyond those initial 5. But you might be wondering again, what is the use of the other 3 charges? As I mentioned before, this particularity of Navia not just increases the number of Risula charge shots, but will also increase the overall damage of Navia's Gumbrella. The use of these 3 Crystal Shrapnel charges is exactly this. They increase the overall damage of Navia's Gumbrella. Each charge will increase the damage dealt by 15%. With all charges, we'll have around 45% of increased damage. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention this. Navia's elemental skills can enter in an aiming mode that allows her to absorb nearby crystals or elemental shards, making it easier to get crystal shrapnel instead of running around trying to collect them and end up being knocked out by enemies. From my personal experience, is really useful. Navia's elemental burst unleash a massive cannon bombardment on opponents in front of her, dealing geo damage, and also provide an extra periodically damage by the support cannon, which is a pretty decent damage. In addition, Navia will periodically gain crystal shrapnel charges, similar to Lane's burst that gives 1 prop surplus stack. Pretty useful. Lane's main will agree with me. But if you are wondering about this, no. Navia doesn't need elemental charge to gain crystal shrapnel during the burst. Now let's move on Navia's first passive. Navia's first passive happens when she uses her elemental skill. Just as I mentioned before, Navia can infuse Geo and her Claymore. Not just that, but also gain 40% of increased damage while in this state, that lasts 4 seconds. But this increased damage is just for her normal charge and plunging attacks. Pretty similar to Quintin's first passive that also infused Electro on her sword. But she doesn't get any increased damage while in this state. Pretty unfair. These damage increases is something we were missing on Quintin, to be honest. Because of this, plus the Claymore, Navia ended up with a decent normal attack damage. Now, let's move on Navia's second passive. I think now you need really to pay even more attention, because this passive is the main thing on Navia's kit. Navia gain 20% of increased attack, not damage but attack for each Pyro, Electro, Cryo or Hydro party members. And you will be able to stack this effect 2 times, meaning that our limit is have at least 2 characters in the party with this element that I mentioned. But why not a Nemo or Dendro? Well, they don't react with Geo to create crystallized reaction. So, well, if you need two different elements between pyro, electro, cryo and hydro, this means that we have an empty slot, which we can pick any characters we want as our last element. I really recommend you pick another Geo character because of the elemental resonance. Geo resonance decreases Geo resistance to the enemies. It's really worth it. Next, Navia's signature weapon. Whoa, pretty unique design. I think it's the first time I see a really unique design for a claymore in Genshin. It's really nice. This claymore has a very ordinary base crit rate, not higher than others' weapons like Dia, Sino, Ayato weapons. Well, I will say in advance that the effect bonus is pretty niche for just crystallized reaction. Besides your attack being increased by 20%, you'll have another 36 of elemental skill damage increase, but just after you trigger a crystallized reaction. See? A pretty niche weapon, of course. Please do not consider Navia's weapon as a part of her amazing power, like Supervision is for Wisely, or Key of Hierophant is for Nilo, or even Scarlet Sense is for Sino. But although it's a pretty good weapon, just for Navia, of course, and have a pretty nice design. Now let's talk about Navia's Constellations. C1 is not a big thing. I was expecting something else, to be honest. As a niche character, I was expecting something like a Nilo C1. At C1, Navia gaining 9 of energy, and in addition, 3 seconds decrease of elemental burst cooldown. This is something that a piece of artifact set and a good team can resolve. Navia's second Constellations is, whoa, really nice. Basically, you can forget 36% of crit rate in your stats because Navia will gain this exact number of crit rate increases. Just for her elemental skill, that's as I said part. Not just that, but she will also fire a shot from elemental burst each time she uses her skill. C3 increase Navia's main source of damage by 3. C4 is amazing. Makes the burst reduce geo resistance to the opponent's hit by 20% for 8 seconds. Pretty strong constellation. Geo support is something we were always looking for in Genshin, because we can use a Nemo or other element to buff Geo. It's impossible in Genshin. The two only ways to buff Geo is use Geo resonance or Daddy Zhongli. Pretty controversy. Because Zhongli can reduce the elemental resistance to the opponents, including physical resistance, by 20%. C5 increases elemental burst by 3. Navia's burst is pretty decent in my opinion. Finally, Navia's C6. Whoa! This is a pretty useful and a nice constellation. Let me explain. I don't have Navia's C6. I can't do this kind of investment already in my account without ways to get return, but I will try to explain in an easier way. Basically, when Navia consumes those 3 crystal shrapnel, do not exactly increase the number of Risula sharp shots like I explained before. If you didn't skip, Navia will gain 45 of crit damage on her elemental skill. Pretty nice, don't you think? But that's not all. The coolest part comes now. If Navia consumes more than 3 crystal charges, she will restore the charges that exceed the first 3, which means if she consumes 4 charges, she will gain 1 charge, or if she consumes 5 charges, she will gain 2. This way, she can gain more 3 charges when she consumes all 6 charges. Thank you so much to watch this video until here. If you ask me, all constellations of Navia are worth pulling. Except C1, but you can reach the others without active C1s first. But in short, Navia is a pretty nice character with a pretty unique gameplay, and also provide a good support, and you know that support characters are really worth pulling. And without forgetting, she is not just okay, she is strong. Please don't forget to leave your vital support for this new channel. I'm counting on you. Thank you so much, you are a very nice person. Comment down your thoughts about Navia's gameplay and make sure to subscribe to not miss any future content. Bye, see you when you see me.